Okay, so many people will know that last night we witnessed a fight between Lewis Riston and Miguel Vazquez. Many people, myself included, we all thought Vazquez won the fight. A lot of us thought he won it quite clearly. I've seen some people with scorecards of 120, 108, 119, 109, which was mine, and 118, 110. They being kind of generic across the board, which is what most people who were watching it saw. Now, obviously, the judges didn't see it that way. It was a split decision to Lewis Riston. Is what it is. I think that's probably the robbery of the year so far this year, and that's twice now. Last year, robbery of the year was Miguel Vazquez versus O'Hara Davis. This year, it's him against Lewis Riston. I've talked about that enough in my post-fight review. I don't want to go in depth to it again. What I want to talk about is the judge, Terry O'Connor, and basically the image that's emerged, which is of him on his phone whilst judging this fight. Now, Terry O'Connor, as a judge, has come out with some absolutely absurd scorecards. Look at Joe Hughes versus Robbie Davis Jr. That was a competitive fight. Two judges in that fight had it, I think one had it 115, 113. I think the other had it 115, 113 as well for Robbie Davis Jr. Along comes Terry O'Connor, 118, 110. Same against Hughie Fury versus Joseph Parker. When he scored the Callum Smith fight, he was the one who scored it the widest for Callum Smith. Thomas Patrick Ward, I can't remember the guy he fought. The guy fought Sonny Edwards. That was a technical decision draw, of course. And Thomas Patrick Ward was getting barred in that fight. And of course, Terry O'Connor gives him the widest scorecard. I mean, it's becoming a joke. It's a joke at this stage. And for him to be seen on his phone, like most boxing fans, myself included, right? When we're watching a fight at home, we're scoring it. Yes, I will admit it. I've watched fights, right, whilst talking to friends on the phone. I've been watching fights that I intend to cover, and I've got a text mid-fight, and I've texted back, and I've been on my phone a little bit. That does happen. It's not uncommon. But guess what? My scorecard, and many other people's scorecards, they're not the scorecards that are deciding who wins and loses the fight. If I say the fight was 119, 109 for Miguel Vazquez, that's irrelevant because it's not what the judges saw. But he's judging the fight at ringside. It's his job to keep an eye on the fight, to look at the fight, to look for every little detail. And my man's on his phone. On his phone, like, I mean, if you're that incompetent and you're that disinterested in a job in any aspect of life, guess what happened? You ain't gonna last long. You know, I've seen it in my own job outside of YouTube, where people who've just been, you know, I don't want to say disinterested, just not giving a you know what, and guess what happens? They ain't lasted long. You know, that's a fact of life. Terry O'Connor, his scorecards are absurd. The fact that he wasn't even properly watching this fight and he was just giving round to Lewis Riston, which I think that's fair to say. I mean, if he's on his phone, God only knows what he's doing, and he's missing, you know, crucial parts of this fight, and then he's just giving rounds to Lewis Riston. I mean, how in God's name you can give him 9 rounds is beyond me. When you consider that Sky, the commentary, even Eddie Hearn in an IFL interview said it was a disgrace. You know, you've Matthew Macklin, whose scorecards in the past I've just been like, huh? What were you watching? Like Shannon Courtney versus Rachel Ball. I was just like, what fight were you watching? Even he scored at 118 to 110 for Miguel Vazquez. Matthew Macklin. Alright? It got to the point where Sky, they were just saying Lewis Riston, he can't fight this kind of style, he can't do this. It's absurd. And the fact that, what I wonder is, why were Riston's corners so calm and relaxed and just, you know, yeah, you've got this, there's only one winner. It's like, what? What? What were you watching? What were you watching? Did they know something? Did they hear the word Terry O'Connor's judging this fight, which means, okay, we're already 3 rounds up? Is that what they were thinking? God only knows. YouTubers like me, Mark, Dale, Ade, we have a good fan base. You know, people tend to listen to us more than they would listen to guys on Sky because we're coming at it. We've no horse in the race. We're objective. I often ask my videos to be shared, but I would ask that this video be shared. As many people can share this as they can, because something seriously needs to be done when you have a judge who is assigned by the British Boxing Board of Control to do a job, which is to judge a fight, which is to watch a fight, which is to watch it throughout, which is to see what's going on, and he's there, yeah, on my phone. I should have brought my iPod over here. I should have made it more clear. Yeah, on my phone. What? Round's over? Alright, 10-9 Riston. I mean, that can't go on. Mauricio Sullivan even, you know, made a comment about it, saying that this can't go on. Apparently he's being investigated, which is fair due. You know, fair sharing as someone, they know who they are. Well, they actually don't watch my videos, but she most people would know who I'm talking about. She always says that, you know, whenever I say something smart and it comes back to bite me, it's like fair sharing. He needs to be invested. He can't judge these fights. He is not he can't judge these fights. He can't. Something needs to change with this. I mean, this just can't go on. You know, I remember when Ryan Burnett fought Lee Haskins, and the judge, I forget the judge's name, I think it was Bruno something. I think he basically didn't know which fighter was which, so he ended up scoring the fight for Lee Haskins, when in fact he thought that was Ryan Burnett, and I don't think he's judged since. Now that was inexcusable. That is probably worse than what it's not. It's right up there. But something similar needs to happen. I mean, you can't have this going on. This is the thing, right? People look, when you're trying to get fans into boxing, who maybe are UFC fans or MMA fans, and you're saying, well, what is it about boxing that, you know, that can, you know, bring us in? When it's like, well, you know, your judges, they're scoring fights for the wrong guy, they're on the phone at ringside. I can't defend that. You know, I when I'm trying to get new fans into boxing, I'm saying, well, you should watch boxing. You know, we see good fights, we see this. It's like, BS like that happens. Like, I can't defend that. That can't be defended, and that's what ruins this sport. That's what makes this sport a laughing stock sometimes when fans are looking at it, when they're like, well, you've got people who are meant to be scoring the fight and all they're doing is on their phone. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I can't defend that. So this video, if anyone can share this, I would really encourage you to do so. Enough's enough with Terry O'Connor as a judge. I'm sick of seeing his scorecards. I'm sick of seeing fighters go in there and leave with less of themselves. A fighter like Miguel Vazquez, who deserved the win, who came over as the away fighter, who boxed his heart out, and what? He gets a loss that he should never have got by a man who was so disinterested he was on his phone. I mean, that is just disgraceful. That is disgraceful. And I would, maybe it's too much to ask, but I'd love it if they just make that fight a no contest or something like that, because they really should. At the end of the day, if you had a judge who was disinterested and wasn't watching the fight throughout, how can you honestly say that's a reflection of what went on in the fight? Seriously. So those are my thoughts on this. There might be people out there who don't like what I had to say about that, but there's nothing I said that was demonstrably untrue. So if you don't like it, sue me. There's nothing I said that was demonstrably untrue, which is facts. So those are my thoughts on this. Let me know yours in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you could share it, I would really appreciate that. If you could smash the like button as well, I'd appreciate that too, guys. I'll do a Let's Talk About Boxing later on in the day at some stage, so maybe we'll get some more topics on that, or maybe we'll get some more thoughts on that. I hope you enjoyed this, peeps. As always, I'll talk to yous. Peace.